Find ourselves back in Universe 6, and Kaba literally is running delivery. Like, you would think after the Tournament of Power, or even the training in Universe 7 that he's allowed to do with the Angel and the God of Destructions, that he would have like a higher up job in the Planet Sadala Defense Force, but no, he's here running cargo, and he is abruptly stopped by CAULIFLA, which is exactly the same way that she stopped some of the Planet Sadala guards that were guarding a transport back in the manga. And she orders him to empty everything out of the truck, and then realizes that, hey, it's Kaba. This is where Kaba reveals that he's actually heading toward CAULIFLA and Kale's secret lair. He's heading there because he's on the behalf of the King of Planet Sadala and the army, asking for a consultation, a meeting with CAULIFLA. And they've brought all these supplies, all this medical supplies, all this food to kind of ease that transition. And so you can tell right off the bat, it's been a while since they've seen each other, Kaba and CAULIFLA. It's been a little bit since the Goku training days, probably a few years now, and it looks like they kind of just went right back to what they were doing before. Kale quickly comes out, and here's where we kind of see where it's been a while. She even says to Kaba, "It's been a long time, Mr. Kaba, that we've seen you. What is going on? What's the situation?" And Kaba states that it's actually Kale also that the request is for. And CAULIFLA deduces right away that if they need Kale, this means that there is a battle coming, and the battle is not easy. It's a hard battle. It's something tough. Kaba gets straight to the point and asks them if they remember Frost from the Tournament of Power. CAULIFLA sort of remembers him, Kale not really. Frost is a being that was basically being hailed a hero because he was causing crimes in the background while he essentially saved the day or stopped them. So he's a guy that has been in disguise in Universe 6 for quite some time, and only recently has he been shown that he isn't actually a villain and has done villainous acts. The only problem is that he has been eluding capture for a while now, and there is reason to believe that he has disappeared beyond Universe 6. Kaba doubles down on this, saying that it could be a very similar situation how we went to Universe 7 to train with the Universe 7 Saiyans. Frost could have also gone to Universe 7 to get some sort of training or an alliance with the evil Frieza from Universe 7 as well. Kaba explains that with Frost's strength being unknowable since it's been years since the Tournament of Power, he has slid back into crime, and now he's disappeared to Universe 7. The King and the Planet Sadala Defense Force decided that using or having Kale or CAULIFLA on their side, or both, could help their chances in defeating this being. CAULIFLA says under one condition. CAULIFLA asks for them to let CAULIFLA arrest Frost alone. She wants to do it by herself, and Kaba's just like, wait, I came to you because I need your help. I don't need you to do it on your own. I need this to be under the scope of the Planet Sadala Defense Force. We need your help. We need to do this as a group. CAULIFLA's just laughing about this because she's been bored to tears since the Tournament of Power. Kale then comes up with the idea that they should ask Hit instead. Hit should be working with the Planet Sadala Defense Force to face off against Frost. She, probably the smartest one in the bunch right now in this crew. But CAULIFLA isn't buying this. She doesn't think that the Planet Sadala Defense Force is going to hire a criminal, an assassin, like Hit, who is also on their radar. Alright, this is funny. Kaba says, do you think the powers that may be would ask Hit, who is an assassin, to help them in this quest? And CAULIFLA's like, see? And then Kaba says, well, we did. We tried. And I'm here. And the reason for that is he couldn't get into contact with Hit, like, whatsoever at all. So he decided to go for the next best choice, which was CAULIFLA and Kale. Kaba explains further that the Universe 6 strongest warrior, Hit, has been on hiatus for a while. And just because he's an assassin doesn't mean the Planet Sadala Defense Force is not going to hire him. But his hiatus status means that he is extremely difficult to find. He is nowhere to be found, if that makes any sense. Now, Kale is in shock because she thinks that, wait, do you think somebody killed him? And CAULIFLA says no, nobody in Universe 6 can kill Hit. Hit is the Universe 6's greatest killer. He's the strongest in Universe 6. he's just laying low and he doesn't want to take up a contract that is as weak as this one. So CAULIFLA takes Kaba up on this. She says, fine, I'll go ahead and take out Frost. It's been a while since I've been able to go on a rampage. And now we cut to another part of the universe in Universe 6, and Frost is still in Universe 6. So essentially the problem, I 100% take responsibility for this because I am translating this, and I had to go back a few times, but it isn't just the fact that they think that he's going to go to Universe 7. They're in fear that he will, that he'll try to. That's his next move, to try to leave and evade Universe 6 and then go to Universe 7 by any means. So that's why they're trying to stop him right here. And you can see that he is holed up in this canyon pass. Even his henchmen are worried about the planet Sadala army. And I think even more so when one of the henchmen comes in, running in, telling Frost that there's only 3 Saiyans and they're taking out all their goons, like every single one. And Frost thinks to himself, well, looks like we're about to have a family reunion, as CAULIFLA here can be seen counting the amount of enemies that she's taken out by herself. After they did the initial cleanup of the henchmen, they decided to leave the rest for the planet Sadala army. As you can see here, these are the same 2 guys that CAULIFLA stopped in the manga, in the official manga. She ended up stopping them before they go to the Tournament of Power, and they all decide that enough time has passed and they're gonna go in like SEAL Team 6, take out Frost once and for all. They need to run through the tunnels, run through the caves, and find his ass. That is when Frost shows up, and he said there is no need, and it looks like he's got something else up his sleeve. Frost looking a little bit more built, a little bit more diesel than he was before. So Frost takes a page out of Frieza's book and starts acting all cool, cocky, and collected with the 3 Saiyans before him, saying, long time no see, it's been since the Tournament of Power, but I really wanted to meet you both. Kaba's like, even though you're being hunted? Frost responds with, I'm being hunted by the planet Sadala army, but hush up now because you aren't the one that I wanted to meet. I wanted to meet the 2 female Saiyans. And then he focuses in on CAULIFLA. That's right, CAULIFLA. Aren't you shunned and thrown aside on planet Sadala? Isn't the planet Sadala army persecuting you as well? This is interesting because Frost says that back in the day, he actually was working with the planet Sadala Defense Force on certain projects. Remember, he was perceived as a good guy for a long time before the jig was up, and he met a character, a captain, that was named Renzo, which is CAULIFLA's, I believe, her older brother. And they said that his younger sister was the strongest Saiyan on the planet. Even though Renzo didn't care much about Order or the planet Sadala army and even ended up leaving, he is remembered favorably, while Frost believes the exact same thing, and he is persecuted for being a rogue or a scoundrel, just somebody that is bad taste. He says that those that disobey and don't follow rules are detested and shunned in the planet Sadala army and on Sadala in general. And that's when Frost reaches out his hand and says, let me put it bluntly, CAULIFLA, please come with me. And Kaba's like, don't listen, CAULIFLA. CAULIFLA begins to laugh and says, I always thought that the Saiyan army was afraid of my strength, but it honestly seems like you're afraid of my strength. Is that right? You're afraid of me, so you're trying to bring me on as an ally? You don't want to face me, do you? So if that's the case, it should only take one of us to defeat you and bring you in. Now I remember how annoying you are, which I guess, again, it's been some time, so he didn't remember. Now he does, and they both trade blows, which ends up throwing away all his henchmen into the air and pushing both Kale and Kaba back. And even Kale says that he's stronger than he was before. Kaba says he's about to jump in as soon as he sees an opening. Frost misses his shot, but CAULIFLA comes in clutch only to miss. Another miss again, and then they trade evasive maneuvers as he tries to use his tail to hit her. She ends up dodging until she ends up headbutting the tail, smacking it down, and trying to come in for a top-down kick that should possibly knock him out. As they go back and forth, Kale realizes that she doesn't really need to jump in, neither does Kaba. Like, she's handling this fine. After all the training she's done in Universe 7, like, CAULIFLA Super Saiyan is way stronger than what the final form of Frost actually is. But Kaba's not fully convinced. He's like, remember, he's tricky. Don't put your guard down. And this is where we see Frost's tricky abilities here with these poison blades that he uses, which it is a really interesting thing for him, his species, to be using like these poison daggers. But yeah, I think that hopefully he's got something else better up his sleeve than just this little pinprick. And Kaba yells to CAULIFLA for her to watch out, but is Kaba too late to warn her about the needle? And no, she ends up blocking it, and even says it's boring when you just do the same thing over and over again. Don't you have any new tricks? And Frost says, boring am I? I'll show you boring. And he, because he's got her arms now, uses his tail to try to stab her with an even bigger needle that I'm assuming is poisonous. But coming out of nowhere, they hear a voice say, that's enough. And right in the middle of them, Hit actually ends up breaking the fight. One of my favorite characters in all of Dragon Ball, Hit, is finally here. So I guess he wasn't on hiatus for very long. Hit glances back at Frost and says, all that time that you had and you still couldn't kill them. You are no improvement from the Tournament of Power. And Frost is a little bit ashamed about that, but CAULIFLA cuts it short by saying, did anybody tell you not to interrupt other people's fights? I usually don't, Hit replies, but I have an interest in this fight. And that's when Frost reveals another trick, and that is that Hit is actually working for him. He has hired him, and he called him subordinate, and Hit doesn't like that terminology, but Frost says, once everything is accomplished, trust me, you will be happy to be my subordinate. So it looks like Frost has some big plans, especially if he hired the strongest warrior in Universe 6 to fight on his behalf. And that's when Frost explains his evil plan, and that is that in Universe 6, he will become the Emperor of the entire galaxy. Kills like Emperor, and that's right. He says that once his ambition is truly realized, they'll have an army that won't be able to be faced against by no other force. Frost has planned this entire encounter from the very beginning. He knew that pulling Hit off the market and hiring him would force the planet's Adala Defense Force to hire the strongest Saiyan on the planet, which is CAULIFLA, to come confront Frost. He didn't realize that Kale would also be coming as well, but that's a bonus prize because what he really wanted was a chance to talk to the two most disparaged members of the Saiyan race, along with the rest of the Saiyans that are in the hills hiding, barely have any supplies, any medical supplies, any food, and have them switch to his side. He has already a pretty decent sized army, and once he gets others on his side, he'll be able to corner the planet's Adala Defense Force and eliminate them, hence becoming the strongest being in the universe and the emperor of everything in existence. Kaba isn't happy with this speech, not whatsoever. Kaba attacks Frost from the back, but gets immediately stopped by Hit, who literally disrespectfully grabs him by the face and says, you're not going anywhere. But Frost, feeling cocky now, is like, no, let him go. I will handle these Saiyans. I'll handle this Saiyan in particular, since he's part of the Defense Force. I will take him down. And so Hit releases Kaba, and Kaba starts asking Hit, don't do this, you don't want to side yourself with Frost. If you do, I'm going to have to go through you. And Hit says, well, come through me then, because I'm standing right here, and you're going to have to get through me to get to him, which is something that Kaba was not prepared for. And CAULIFLA even asked, listen Hit, it's been a while since we've seen each other, but why would you let yourself be under the employ of someone so despicable? And Hit says, do you remember Goku? And CAULIFLA says, yes, the Saiyan from Universe 7. Hit says that Goku reawakened his need to battle. It reawakened a strength that he had long since locked away or forgotten about years ago. And when he saw Jiren in the Tournament of Power, he realized that his admiration for fighting and his need to become stronger was only getting bigger. He needed to become strong, and that's something that wasn't happening in Universe 6, because anybody who he targeted would give up. Those who challenged him would die, and that is when he met Frost. Frost told him his plan, and Hit was asking, why do you want to become Emperor? And the reason is because of Frieza. Frieza humiliated Frost in the Tournament of Power, but after that humiliation, he watched Frieza fight. He watched what Frieza did in the tournament and realized that he had a lot of admiration for him. He wanted to use Frieza as an example and become as strong as him, and become the emperor of everything just like him. It says that it's simple. If he follows Frost, he may encounter somebody that is truly powerful that will push him over his abilities and his capabilities. And CAULIFLA says, so you're having a midlife crisis? Because it sounds like you're having a midlife crisis and you want to do something reckless in order to face off against strong people. Hit says, resentment is the killer of power. And right now I'm trying to not resent the universe I'm in. Is that the reason that you didn't knock out Kaba? And Hit says, well, right now we are not in combat, but if I had to give you all three a little bit of advice, I would say, Kale, don't be afraid of your yellow form. It is yours. Make sure that you use it to its fullest and its strongest. Kaba, don't fall into a mold. When you see yourself getting rusty, when you see yourself making less and less success, especially when it comes to power, shake things up. And CAULIFLA, don't just pursue power. Make sure you refine all your skills. As of right now, you guys are not my enemy, but next time we meet, we may be fighting in the same battleground. And Hit says with a very confident stare, I'm looking forward to it, and leaves with Frost. And then Kale cuts the tension by saying, Hit was very, very talkative today, because he was. Normally he doesn't talk like that. Kaba says, well, it's probably because of Goku. CAULIFLA says, Goku, what kind of guy is that can change someone like Hit so drastically? After rounding up all of Frost's henchmen, Kaba says this is a job well done. They got a lot of arrests. They got a lot of criminals going back to jail, and at the same time, now they know Hit and Frost plan to become emperor and assassin of the universe. CAULIFLA is busy thinking to herself about Goku, Vegeta, about Champa, about Vados, and she's just muttering to herself, and Kaba's asking what is wrong. And she says that she needs to surpass the Super Saiyan that she is right now. She needs to become even stronger. Kaba's surprised. He's like, what do you mean even stronger? You're pretty strong right now as the Super Saiyan that you are. And Kale's like, are you sure you can even get even stronger? CAULIFLA says yes, the opponent is Frost and Hit, and we don't know how strong Hit is or how strong he will become. And Frost doesn't even know, and he's the one that hired him. We need all the contracts, all the bounties that the Planet Sadala Force has on all nefarious activity in Universe 6. She reasons, let's face it, I can't go back to Universe 7 again to train. I can't go and train off-world or off in the other dimension. I can't get a hold of Vados or Champa, so we need to do the training ourselves just like Hit. We need to go through a bunch of battles and become even stronger and stronger. Focus our basic skills, get them sharpened up, and get them to be ready for what comes next, which is a stronger Frost and definitely a stronger Hit. Even Kale says it looks like it's going to be fun, and CAULIFLA says absolutely. CAULIFLA vows that if she does this, she could even get strong enough to face Hit, and that's something that the other two are surprised for her to say. Kale says, that's crazy, but I can totally see you facing off against him. CAULIFLA says, well, looks like I'm not bored anymore. Let's go on this adventure, and the adventure begins for the Universe 6 Saiyans. So as the three head off to their first contract, Kale asks CAULIFLA, how do you expect to surpass the Super Saiyan that you are right now? CAULIFLA says, I don't know. And she says that she's seen the Super Saiyans in action, and she's seen how strong they are, especially the ones with blue hair. And Kaba says, oh, you didn't know? Kaba explains to them that before the blue hair, there is a red transformation called Super Saiyan God. So Super Saiyan Blue isn't actually just a Super Saiyan transformation, it is infused with God Ki, giving it that distinct color. And that's some of the information that he's been able to get up close and personal by being with Vegeta for so long, as well as knowing that gods don't give off any key signature whatsoever, nothing that anybody of the mortal realm can decipher. CAULIFLA says that transformation sounds like it could be useful. That should be the direction that we were headed to become stronger. Kaba explains the only other Saiyan-like transformation is something that he's been calling the evil Saiyan, and that is the Kale transformation, or as we know it, the Berserker transformation. It is a transformation that is distinct to a certain type of Saiyan, and that Saiyan in Universe 6 is Kale. And Kale doesn't really remember much of her time in that transformation like at all, so it's kind of hard for her to gauge how strong she can become with it. CAULIFLA describes the transformation to Kale, just blonde, a lot more muscular, tinges of green, and you are so strong you could carry magenta with one hand. Kaba states that the Super Saiyan Blue transformation actually is very, very helpful, especially against the Golden Frieza transformation. Something so strong that these two power levels were unimaginable. He begins to reminisce over the fact that he used to think that the Super Saiyan transformation was a demon transformation, and CAULIFLA goes used to. Kaba reflects on how he is the first Universe 6 Saiyan to go Super Saiyan over 1,000 years, but he's always thought of the Saiyan transformation as being demonic, and even when he transformed, he still felt that way because of the fact that Vegeta had to push him over the edge into anger and explosive anger to even get to that point, to even transform fully. But he feels that there is a difference between the Saiyans that come from Universe 6 and the Saiyans that come out of Universe 7, and that difference is instilled in their Saiyan transformations, meaning that even though Kale has this Berserker type of transformation, there could still be several or even more varieties of transformations out there that the old Saiyans back in the day, before they became the Planet Sadala Defense Force or before they became Planet Sadala even, were able to use that were different than the ones that they had in Universe 7. So basically, more Saiyan transformations incoming. And with that train of thought, Kaba says that Kale is the strongest out of all the Saiyans that have ever existed at this point right now in Universe 6. And Kale's like, what are you talking about? But no, it's true. She is the most powerful, and so they should really study her transformation and see how they can either get to that level or surpass it, whether it be in strength or in stats. They need to be as strong as Kale, and maybe that's the basis that they should rely their power on, since that is the strongest Saiyan in Universe 6. They just need to be careful because of the fact that if you are a Saiyan that is engulfed by this strength, the tales or their legends used to say that these Saiyans would explode in their own rage and explosive energy. So that is something that they definitely need to avoid, because they don't want to self-destruct and destroy and hurt other people around them if they don't have to. Kale apologizes because she really can't help like at all. She doesn't remember anything about the transformations. She doesn't remember her experience. But CAULIFLA says, no, don't worry, because you are the basis. We've seen you in action and we can help you in the future, but you are what we need to overcome to become stronger. Because if you are what the original Saiyans in Universe 6 are supposed to be, then that means that every Saiyan in Universe 6 can be that way, similar to Kale. So CAULIFLA and Kaba could become Berserker as well. And then they think, wait, isn't Hit like 1,000 years old? Wouldn't he possibly have gotten access or have seen a Demon Saiyan from Universe 6? And that is how this chapter ends. They're talking about Hit knowing a Demon Saiyan, or at least this transformation in the past, and that could possibly help them get their strength up in the future, especially since Hit wants an opponent to face, and that's exactly what he wants to do. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this story, and it's ongoing. It's gonna be BlackScape signing off. Take care, guys.
Subscribe for more content.